that doesn't need Musar is on now, so we could start.
Jackie, I'm happy you said it and not me, but I was must.
I could say it. I could say it about you.
Well, I missed it. The Olam is what? I missed it.
The Olam that doesn't need Musar is on now, so now we could start it up.
Halavai.
Yeah.
Rami, nobody asked you, okay?
The Kaim and the Levium amongst us.
Well, evidently he doesn't think he needs because he doesn't go on.
The Kahanim and the Levium, all right, behave themselves. That's okay. So I'm Rabbi Yochanan. That's what we're up to. Yeah, it's about 20 lines down. About, I would say, 15 lines up from the wide lines. All right, so
there's a little bays at the beginning of the line.
Well, just before Masnisen in the Mefarish.
Masnisen. Oh, yeah, very good. Yeah, a few lines above that. A few lines above Masnisen in the Mefarish. Yes. So I'm Rabbi Yochanan. Ein HaKadosh Baruch Hu mashra shchinasei el al gibor va'ashir v'chacham va'anov. Hashem does not put his the Shechina doesn't rest unless the person is strong, wealthy, chacham, and anov. So I'm out on all four of those. So there ain't no Shechina over here, right? But you need to do all four. You need to have all four. But Kulan, Moshe, that we learn it all from Moshe. Gibor dichsev by Yifrois es ha'oil ala Mishkan. So he spread out the oil on the Mishkan when they put the, what do you call it? What was it called?
When he meant issur, he means Samech Chalkai or issur?
That's it. Now you're already getting it to better.
This is not the Moses Seder anymore. Issur.
Issur l'chayra means Naftali. I hate to say it, Naftali. There ain't no Shechina on you. Issur l'chayra means, listen, you want to say Bertlach, Musa, fine, but
it's the guys who pay for the parrots, not the ones who carry the parrots. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so I forgot there's a name for it, not nesachim, something like that. The whatever, the skins that they put over the Mishkan. So Moshe Rabbeinu did it himself, right? Because it says he spread it on the Mishkan. Moshe Rabbeinu parsur. Moshe Rabbeinu is the one that spread it. Uksiv esa amas ayrach hakeresh, right? It was 10 amas.
Didn't he build it himself? The whole thing, the 8 days.
He was the first kayan. He was the first kayan. I don't think
he build the Mishkan and take it apart, build it every day and take it apart.
He didn't build it.
It was Moshe
put
himself.
It up and took it down. He didn't build it.
I remember learning. I don't know. Maybe
well,
I
he
could
built
be
it
wrong.
from scratch. What is he in the union? He built it and tore it down.
No, Machlokes is the Medrash.
When he erected,
Two Medrashim. One says it was B'Tzalel by himself. One says it was B'Tzalel with Moshe.
But it certainly wasn't Moshe himself.
I'm not talking about making the parts. I'm talking about erecting it. But
yes, he put it up and took it down every day. Yeah, no.
The avoid in the Mishkan was done by him initially, right? That's for sure. At the first day, I think. Okay, whatever it is. So Moshe spread it himself, and it says Eser Amos Arich HaKeresh, so it's 10 Amos. So the Gemara says, okay, who says he's strong though? Maybe Amud the Arich the Katan. Maybe he was tall, but he wasn't so strong, right? The tallest NBA players, I hate to say it, are not usually the guys that can box out. Like those guys, they're tall, they'll block a shot, but they're not the strong ones.
Yeah, Charles Barkley and Dennis Rodman played big. Yeah.
Right, but they weren't like Manute Bol.
No, Barkley was 6'5".
Yeah. So anyway, so maybe he was tall and not so strong.
We can figure out what it weighed, though. We can figure out what the oil weighed. We can relatively easy figure out how much it weighed. The weight of the oil. It was a massive curtain. And it was woven from 6 threads, which were each woven from 24.
Right, but you don't. Okay, but I don't know. You think it was heavyweight?
I mean, the one in the base of Mikdash, the Paroiches, was 1/6 of the size. That took 300 kaidim to toivel it.
Right, but here it's okay. I don't know. Yeah, but that's because of the size.
This is 6 times the size of the Baruchas.
Okay, so that means maybe he was very large. It doesn't mean he was very heavy. That's what the Gemara is asking.
He was strong. What wasn't heavy? The curtain was, I mean, just by size, it's a massive weight.
I don't know. The Gemara doesn't seem to entertain that. And the Gemara is, I hear that's your kasha. Okay, I hear. Anyways, okay, so element adin, we learned it from this passuk. When Moshe was breaking the luchos, he says, I grabbed onto the 2 luchos, and I threw them down and I broke them. Okay, so who says he's strong? Betanya, haluchas arkon shisha, v'rachon shisha, v'avion shloisha. The luchos were 6 tfachim long, and how does it go? 6 long, 6 wide, and 3 thick. Yeah, and that means he had to be strong enough to pick those rocks up, throw them down on the ground, and then he should break. So you see, he must have been a pretty strong fellow, right? Ashir, because it says psalacha, psilas shalchai. So we said that we said yesterday's daf that the he got to keep the broken pieces from making the luchos shnias. Chacham, and that he was smart. Rabbi Shmuel, Amar Tevah, Chamishim Shari Bina Nibru Ba'olam. There are 50 gates of understanding in the world. V'kulam nitnu l'Moshe, and all of them were given to Moshe. Chasar achs, except one. Shenema v'tachzereh ma'at melekim, but it was small. From Hashem took it away from him from understanding that last thing. Anav tichsiv ha'ish Moshe anamid. It says Moshe was an anav. So that's how you see that Moshe had all 4 things, and Hashem only gives the Shekhinah to those that have all 4, or at least the Shekhinah rests on them only if you have all 4. Amar Rabbi Yechon, Kol Neviim Ashirim hayu. All the Neviim were wealthy. Minayin, mi Moshe u'Shmuel, mi Amus and Yonah. From Moshe, Shmuel, Amus and Yonah. Moshe d'chsiv lo chamar echad mehem nasasi. He didn't even take 1 donkey from klal Yisroel. I beloi agra. Now, it doesn't mean that he didn't take 1 donkey from klal Yisrael without paying for it. Lafuke man deshaka beloi agra. Does it mean Moshe saying that, oh, I never took a donkey from klal Yisrael without paying? Mashma, that he's coming to say, oh, I'm not a ganav. Right? Meaning again, Moshe is saying, I never took 1 donkey from klal Yisrael. Okay, so I never took 1 donkey from klal Yisrael. So if it means without pay, so then what's he comparing himself to? Right? To Geneva Ella Dafilu Ba'agra. Even with payment, he didn't even have to rent a donkey because he was wealthy enough that he had his own donkeys. So Gemara says, well, mishum da'anihu. Right? Maybe he didn't ever take a donkey because he was an ani. Ella, so that's you can't learn from Shah from that. Ella min psalacha. We learn out from psalacha. Psilas yeshalcha. The broken pieces, not broken, the chiseled off pieces from the luchos, Moshe got to keep. So that's how we know he was rich. Shmuel t'chsiv hineni anu bi neged Hashem v'neged Mashiach yashar mi lokachti v'chamar mi lokachti. Right. This is at the end of Shmuel's life where he's saying you could say edus on me that I have not taken anybody's shor and I've not taken anybody's chamor. So ibechinam, same thing. Ibechinam now, if it means that he took it for free, lafuke man teshaka b'chinam, and it's coming to exclude somebody who takes it for free, no, that doesn't make sense. Because that what he's saying, I never took a donkey without paying for it. But shkoyak, you're praising yourself that you're not a crook. Ella, so it can't be that. It means that he didn't take a donkey even if he had to pay for it. Ella dafilu b'schar, even with schar. So Gemara asked the same question. Or maybe he was an ani. You only need a chamar and a donkey. I don't know if we explained this before. You only need a chamar or a shar if you have enough stuff to transport it. But if you don't have enough stuff to transport it, so then you don't need it, right? Elamel, right? If you have no money to spend, then what do you need a car for? Right? Where are you going with that car? You don't have any gas to put in the car anyways. So then maybe that's why he didn't. Shmuel went. He went to Ramah and to that's where his house was. Wherever Shmuel went, his house was with him. So Shmuel is the first person I think to have a mobile home.
An RV, yeah.
An RV. He had an RV.
He was a Chabadska.
Yeah. You think he had a menorah on top of his car? Did Shmuel say that?
No, it was before Hanukkah. No.
Yeah. So Bastami had some form of RV. Fine. It's interesting terminology here. It's greater what's said by Shmuel than it's said by Moshe. Right? Meaning.
I'm sorry. Somebody I can't remember. Leibowitz said he had a house in every location. That's how.
That's it. Yeah. He had a house.
Everywhere he went, he already had a house.
Yeah, he was a rabbi. No.
Is that what that means? Because it doesn't sound basically.
I can't remember Rabbi Leibowitz. I don't remember. I started a few minutes ago.
Okay, it's interesting, but basically, Imai sounds like it went with him. It doesn't sound like he went to a house, right? But I don't know.
Well, you could say it was like Rava, basically Zuishta. You everything had
a
wife in each
they had a wife for him.
Shows his wealth. The whole point is that would show how wealthy he is. If he has a house in Florida, he has a house in Jerusalem, he has, that would show.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what we're saying. That
I know a lot of people with RVs are not wealthy. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah, okay. The question is what size of their house is.
That's people don't have good RVs. The guys I know have $1.5 million RVs. What can I tell you, doctor?
Yeah, I mean RV parks are not exactly from the high class. Anyway, so it's not saying that it was greater. It's saying that it's gadol.
He's sure he was a Ram. Moshe Rabbeinu was just called Moshe Rabbeinu. This was he was called up to the chuppah. Shmuel with a bigger title than Moshe Rabbeinu was called up. That's what the Gemara is saying. Not saying.
Oh, so that what the Gemara is saying is. I wasn't sure what it was saying. That it's greater what we say by Shmuel than we say by Moshe. Okay, maybe Dila b'Moshe. Let's see what it says. Dila b'Moshe Rabbeinu ksiv loy chamar echad mehem nasasi. He says, I didn't even take one donkey from klal Yisrael dafilu b'schar. He says, even for schar, vilu gavi Shmuel afilu b'ratzon b'schar. By Shmuel, right? Even b'ratzon, even when the owner wanted to, meaning if the government needs something, right? So the government can go, they could take it, but they'll pay you back, right? That's what it seems to be saying by Moshe. But by Shmuel, he never even forced anybody to give it up, even meaning for payment, even Moshe gave payment. But Shmuel, even if a guy said I can't give it, he didn't force it. You didn't steal from us, and you didn't force us. Fine. Amos, so how do you know Amos was wealthy? Vayan Amos vayomer elamatzia loy navi hanoichi loy ben navi hanoichi ki biker hanoichi uvayles shikmin. He said, I'm not a navi or a ben navi. I'm just a biker. I mean, from the word bucker, I'm a cattle driver or whatever they called. Ubaylam, I'm sorry, ubayles shikmim, and I check out shikmim is the type of trees. Kidamatagam Rabbi Yosef. Because I'm an owner of cattle, and I check out these what do you call it, sycamore trees. All right. I have no idea why the Gemara decides to touch this into Aramaic. Right, but okay, I don't know. It's interesting. Fine. Weiter. He gave his schar, and then he went onto the boat. He was in such a rush. He gave the schar for the entire boat. He said, "Okay, let's get out." How do you I hate to say it like the movies. The guy's running and says, "Get it, run the meter and let's go." And the taxi, right? Like, just go. Right? He said he gets on the boat. He said, "We're waiting for more customers." He said, "I'll pay the whole thing." What?
It's apropos to be like the movies. We just did a John Grisham analogy, so it works.
What is that?
Sycamore. Sycamore is a big analogy with his book. Sycamore Row is one of his big books.
Is that so?
Yeah.
I hear you. Okay, well, mama's secularizing.
How come we never heard of it?
So, listen, I thought you were educated, Baron. You know what I mean?
No,
it's a John Grisham book. Where they
I read his other 117 novels.
They don't.
Never
They
heard of
don't.
Sycamore.
The voting agency does not allow Grisham's book in there.
That's a fact. Very good, Barrett.
Talking about when you're working or sitting there.
I know what he's talking about, but it's not.
Yeah. Anyways, okay. So he paid for the entire boat, which means that he had some money, right? Amar Reb Rumnus. Reb Rumnus said, it was 4,000 dinrim. Yeah, I don't know how he knew this, but maybe that was the price at his days. I'm not sure. Fine. Now this is my favorite Gemara right here. Mamish, my favorite Gemara. In the beginning, Moshe learned the Torah and he forgot it. Right? Until the Torah was given to him matana. And he gave it to Moshe when he was finished talking to him. Right? So
what about Tony's matana here?
Here. I don't know. Good question. It's a good question. It's a sign. Maybe that only means a physical matana. I don't know. But either way, I'm saying I know the Reb Shlomo Freifeld has a shmooze about this, where he said that the way you daven to know the Torah is by learning. He says it's not physically, humanly, or worth whatever possible to know as much Torah as these Gedolim knew. It's just not shaykh. But it has to come by matana. But you have to daven for it. The way you daven for it is by learning. And then by learning, you keep learning, keep going at it. And then eventually it gets given to you with matana. Right? You hope. You hope. I'm waiting for that matana. But anyways, okay. Zog the Mishna, yeah? Now back to I'm loving Nedarim because it's humbling. Talk about the last Gemara. Every time you read a line in the Mishnah, you think, oh, so for sure he can't do this if he made a neder against him. And they say, nope, you could do that too, right? It's unbelievable. So now we're talking about the guy who made a neder against this fellow. So vizonas ishtaves banov. So not only can he do all the things he said till now, he could even feed the guy's wife and his kids, right? Even though the husband's chayiv to feed his kids, meaning sometimes you could have it where they're little kids where he's chayiv to give it, but the older kids make it, and we said after the age of 6, he's not chayiv to give, right? Or we're talking about a lady who was divorced and he was maybe chayiv himself to pay, whatever it is. But even if he's chayiv to pay his kids and his wife, he still is he's still required to give it. I got a text from a lady today. What are grounds for divorce? My husband never talks to me. I said, well, I don't know if he has to talk to you. I said, it's not a conversation for text anyways. I don't know if he has to talk to you. Is he feeding you? I'm saying, is he bringing home food? Because that's his shiba. I mean, he has a shiba to do that, right? Okay, but anyways, so even though the guy had a chiyuv, so the one that made a neder against him is still allowed to feed his kids. And he's not allowed to feed his behemoths, whether they're tamei or whether they're Torah. You're allowed to feed his tamei animals, but you're not allowed to feed his Torah animals. Okay, what's the difference? If you're allowed to feed his animals, why can't you feed both? And if you can't feed his animals, you can't feed both. Why we differentiate between a tamei animal and a Torah animal? A fascinating choice of words from the Mishna. Right, a tahira, it's nefesh. The nefesh of a behema belongs to Shemayim, and once you kill it, right, because it's also to eat a behema when it's alive. Once you kill it with the proper shechita of a gufa shalai, then the guf goes to the owner. But tameya on Talmud Beis now, but tameya nafsha v'gufa l'shemayim. But tameya, it's nefesh and it's guf are to Shemayim. There has to be something deeper from this Gemara. There has to be. Right? A treifa animal, its nefesh and its gufas to shemayim, which is basically what it's saying is that you're never eating it. So since you're never eating it, you're not giving the owner benefit by feeding his animals, because the Torah animal, let's see the Kven of the Mishna first. But a tamei also is nefesh shemayim gushalayshim yirtza harei u'maychol leklavim. Because if he wants, he could take this fattened animal that's not kosher and sell it to a guy or give it to a dog. Meaning, he's saying, the Tanakama is saying that you can't give to either one because you're benefiting the person who you made a neder against. Because by having a fatter animal, if it's a kosher animal, he's gonna have fattier meat. And if it's a non-kosher animal, then he can sell it to a guy or give it to his dogs. And the other sheet, Rebbe Elazar says, no, we go just strictly with feeding it. And feeding it, it's not a issue. Right? Okay. If somebody makes a neder against his chaver, he's allowed to marry his daughter. But again, in the Dharam, it's so vague. It almost never tells us who made the neder against who. Right, so Havi bar Rav Zera. So Rav Zera was thinking, but my asking, what are we talking about? Where the belongings of the kala are also onto the chasan. Then all he's doing, he's giving it. Not all he's doing, but he's giving him a shivcha. He's giving him basically, it's calling the wife a shivcha l'shamshay to work for him. So that's giving him hana. So that can't be. It can't be he can marry his daughter. Right? If he promised not to have, he made a neder not to have hana from that guy because he's giving him his daughter's going to help him out, help out her husband, you assume. Must be where the chassan said he's not going to give benefit to the father of kala. So gedola mizu amru, but you already said that. We said even bigger chiddush. Zanes ishtoi vesbano. You're allowed to even feed a guy's wife and his kids. And even if the husband's chayv and mezainas. And you're saying that it's mutter to marry his daughter? I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to feed his daughter? We paskin already, you're allowed to feed his daughter. So why can't he marry the daughter? Right? So the Gemara answers, it's talking about where the kala is issur to the chassan. And we're not talking about a katan or bogeres. We're talking about a daughter who's a bogeres, umidaita, and she's getting married on her own with her own das. So it has nothing to do with the father. So therefore, he's allowed to marry the daughter. So what do you see from this? That there's no hana to a father marrying off his daughter. Somebody makes a neder from hana from his friend. Also lahasi lebitoy. It's not allowed to marry the daughter. But you are allowed to marry his daughter who's a bogeres. Okay, I didn't realize it's so late. All right, we'll finish up tomorrow. Tomorrow night, Hashem. We'll say 6:15. All right, fine. Have yourselves a fine Shabbos.
Shabbos, good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.
Shabbos.
Shabbos, everybody.